Once there was a man who lived on the lovely island of Crete. The view from his home was spectacular, looking north over the Sea of Crete, which was about 5 miles below. This man's family had lived on this land for generations, even through the many wars that had devastated the island. This man loved his home and his land with a deep and beautiful intensity. He loved the orange plantations, he loved the olive groves, he loved the birds and the animals who made their homes there. He believed, and perhaps rightly so, because his place was a place of stunning natural beauty that surrounded him. He thought that there was no place on earth that could equal the quietude and peacefulness of this land. Well, this man lived a long and full life, a good life. And when he was very old, he perceived that his time on this earth was nearly over. So he called his children together and he told them that when the time came, he wanted to be taken outside to lie down on his land for one last time. And so his children did as he requested. When it was time, they carried their father out. They laid him on the ground right next to the olive grove on the edge there. And he could look up at the cypress tree and the carob tree. He could breathe in the salty air and the sweet smells of mimosa and sage and clover. And he could listen to the relaxing sounds of the waves in the sea below. And that would be the last sound that he would ever hear. But just before he took his last breath, he opened his hand and he reached down and grasped some soil from the earth. And he died a happy man. Next thing he knows, he's at the gate of heaven. And St. Peter is there to greet him. "Welcome," St. Peter said. Come enjoy the kingdom of heaven." And so the old man said, "Thank you." And he began to walk toward the gate, right to heaven. And just before he walked through the gate, St. Peter said, "Oh, wait, you have to let go of earth before you can enter heaven." And the man looked at his clenched fist and he said, "I don't know what's on the other side of that gate, but I know what I have here in my hand. This is all I know and love, and I'm not letting this go. I'm not leaving this behind." And so St. Peter turned and he walked through the gate, leaving the old man outside. And years and years and years, our time, years went by. Years went by before St. Peter came out again. And this time he came out with the man's grandfather. And the grandfather said, "Well, how would you like to come into heaven and join our family? You've lived a good life. You deserve heaven, you know. You took care of your home and your animals and your land and you were kind and generous. You were a good man, and now you deserve heaven. So how would you like that?" And the old man said, "Oh yes, I would like that." And so side by side with his grandfather, he started walking toward the gate of heaven. And again, just before he walked through the gate, St. Peter said, "Oh, sorry, wait. You have to let go of earth before you can come into heaven." And the man said, "No, I can't do that." And then he looked at his grandfather and he opened his hand. He said, "You see this? You know what this is? This is our homestead. You fought in the war for this land. You of all people should understand. So how can you ask me to just give this away? You should know better. I can't do that. I can't do that. I'm not leaving this behind." And so his grandfather and St. Peter went through the gate, leaving the man outside the gate. Another 1,000 years or whatever went by before St. Peter came out again. This time he came out with the man's best friend. And when they saw each other, they embraced. They actually sat down, had a few drinks. They laughed, they talked, they shared stories, memories. And then the other man said, "All right now, my friend, it's time. It's time for you to come into heaven. Are you ready? Because we're all there. We're waiting for you. Are you going to come?" And the man said, "Yes, I am. I'm ready. I'm ready now." And so he and his best friend from childhood walked toward the gate of heaven. And just again, as they reached the gate, St. Peter said it again, you cannot go into heaven until you let go of earth. And the man opened his hand again, and he looked his best friend right in the eye, and he said, "You know what this is. You were there the whole time, my whole life. My childhood friend, you were there. You know that this is my life I have here in my hand, and now you just want me to throw it away? No, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. I won't." And so his best friend and St. Peter went through the gate, leaving the old man outside the gate once again. Years and years and years and years went by before St. Peter came out again, and this time he came with the man's grandchild. Lovely little girl. "Hi, Grandpa," she said. "Would you like to come with me? I want you to. We're all there. The whole family's there, except for you. Please, Grandpa, will you come with me?" And he looked at that little girl in her yellow dress and her little white tights, the way he remembered, and her patent leather shoes. And she searched his face with her dark eyes, looking for an answer. And he took a step toward her. And she said, "Grandpa, please, take my hand, I'll help you." And the old man reached out his hand, and when he did, all that soil from earth sifted through his fingers, and his hand was empty. And he took his little granddaughter's hand, and the two of them went to the gate, and they walked through the gate of heaven, and the first thing he saw was his home and his land on the lovely island of Crete.